Hi everyone, I'm Randy. Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. Today, hopefully a quick video, but I kind of ramble. Servos. So, beautiful thing is you beautiful people have been leaving more comments in my videos, and I couldn't thank you enough for the interactions. Thank you for viewing. I am trying to grow. Historically, my longer videos aren't RCs, but that's what I'm doing, so I'm starting to make more of those videos. So, move that out of the way there. So I picked up this Creighton a few weeks ago because I've become a huge Creighton fan. I think they're awesome bashers. They're extremely durable. They're extremely reliable. I've only broken a handful of parts between a couple of different Creightons. This thing I haven't really had to do too much to. I've added a cooling fan to it because it didn't have one, and I happen to have a cooling fan for a Creighton motor laying around. But I noticed my steering sucked. So this is mostly for new guys. Anyone getting into the hobby and you don't know where to turn, you're Googling everything to try to figure out what you want to do. When you get a car, whatever the car is, and I love all brands, I love all RCs, I joke and bash on each one individually, but every truck has their strengths and every truck has their weaknesses. So there's a used truck. I buy pretty much exclusively used because I don't feel like spending twice as much money on a new car. I'm able to multiply my garage, as it were, consistently by buying used cars. So I've got a few new ones in the works right now. So I'm able to broaden my horizons and play with a lot of different stuff and do it on a budget. And right now, a budget's a big deal. You know, it's an expensive world to be in right now. So I picked this thing up. My steering sucks. I start messing with it, and I'm like, man, there's something wrong with the steering. It handles like my square body. And if you've ever owned a square body or any old car, their U-turn radius is 4 city blocks. So I start looking into it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get a stronger servo. I didn't even look at the servo that I had. I was like, it's clearly a servo problem. I'm going to order a new servo. And with these trucks, the high level of strength for a Creighton is 40 kilograms. I'm a go big or go home kind of guy, so I bought a 50 kilogram servo. I open it up tonight to start messing with it, and I have a 15 kilogram servo in it, which explains a lot. So 15 kilogram is perfect for like all of my two-wheel drive trucks. I've got a fleet of slash trucks, so I've got a spare for that. My kid went bashing with me this weekend, and I think his servo is starting to go, so I'll probably just take this 15 kg and throw it in his. He's got a 4x4 Wrestler VXL. I'll probably just throw it in there so he's got a better servo. But 15 is really weak. So when you're getting into RCs, again, this is primarily aimed at people getting into the hobby or trying to learn more. Go for the stronger servos. So if you have a problem with steering, if you notice your truck is, steering really wide, it's really slow to turn the wheels under its own weight. It goes and makes a lot of creaking noises and doesn't really open up to its full turning ability. Like this has got a pretty tight turn radius normally. But the only time I could ever turn tight is if I'm in the throttle and then pump the brakes and turn hard and basically force it to do a power slide. It'll kind of kick back. Otherwise, I was on a basketball court and it was almost a top of the key type of radius, and that's way too wide for a Creighton. So look into your servos, do the research on what parts work best for whatever truck you happen to have. And now you can have a rally car, you can have a course truck, a drifter. I mean, drifters typically come with pretty solid servos. But, I mean, if your servo's getting weak, it's going to start showing the same flaws. If you've got a subpar servo with plastic gears, I've smoked so many stock Traxxas servos over the years. what are they, the 2075s? I've got a whole box of like gutted ones that I'll rip all the plastic out. I'll buy a cheap metal servo on Amazon, just some Chinese special, and I'll take all the metal gears out because typically they're all modeled off of each other. They're just like stolen IP or whatever. So you can take all the metal parts out and put them into your plastic servo. And I've done that in a pinch where I've got one servo where one gear is bad, but all the rest are good. You just kind of Frankenstein. I've done a lot of stuff on a budget. Now, my budget has happened to grow over a few years because I work hard. But if you're getting into the hobby and you've only got X amount of dollars to play with each month, and you got to focus on the parts your vehicle needs, servo you can never go wrong with. Even if you're running a stock brushed vehicle, I'll talk a lot about traxxas because I own mostly traxxas. So if you've got, say you've got a Slash, bulletproof truck, two-wheel drive, they're fun as hell. You can give them a lot of torque and make them do wheelies. You can give them a lot of speed and just make them burn out and go. They're pretty versatile. Almost every Slash I have is built differently for different purposes. So you can focus on, you've got your stock 2.5 ESC, you're running a stock 50T motor. Upgrading a servo is a good way to start. They're typically cheaper, and you can get better turning, which is going to give you better handling. So even though you're running a stock system, which can be fast, I mean, I've seen stock 50Ts do over 50 miles an hour. It's all about gearing. Gears are another way to go. Gears are super cheap on Amazon. You can gear up or gear down your truck and make it go a hell of a lot faster. But servos, man, for steering is king in almost everything. I've got a few crawlers, and I've been getting a little bit more into crawling. Servos are king there. You really need to be able to, like with a crawler though, you're looking for small radius adjustments while trying to get through a gate. With something like this, you want a wide range of fast moving turning. So yeah, you can never go wrong with a servo upgrade. I am kind of a power freak, so I always do motors first, and then my motor is outperforming my steering, which was the case here. This had just whatever it had in it when I got it, which is all 6S stuff, all BLX 6S. But traditionally, I upgrade all the motor stuff long before I upgrade my steering, and then I'm like, wow, my truck's really fast, but I roll it all the time because the steering sucks. Or I'm having to slow down and stop to turn my truck back around, and that always sucks. So servos are the way to go. Another thing is I got this a couple years ago for others, mostly working on cars. But the small Icon kit at Harbor Freight, I think it was like $30. Again, I've had it for a few years. This little kit has every bit you could possibly need to work on any of your cars. And they're not going to tear up and start rounding out screws, which is a huge problem I've had. I have the Traxxas tool set, and I do like it. I loved it when I got it, but the tip starts to round out pretty quickly, and that starts to screw up a lot of your bolts, and that becomes a problem. So I do use this, but I try to use it. I'll break things free with this guy, and this doesn't have the reach and the I mean, it does come with an extension, but it's kind of fat because it is a magnetic bit holder for your bits. So it is awesome, and it can handle, doing the hard work without tearing up any of your bolts. But if you're in a hard to reach spot, which a lot of these trucks have really hard to reach spots, this is awesome. But I try to break things free with this, and then I'll spin them out quick with this because it is reversible. Like I said, I do love it, except pretty much all of my tips are now damaged. And then I've damaged bolts and then really hosed myself. So I'm having to drill out screw heads and then use pliers to get the stubs out and then replace it. So I've got a ton of hardware kits. It's just kind of a problem. So these are cool. I don't know. Like, I'd recommend it for a bash bag to just throw it in, but not to have it be your everyday go-to because you're going to wear it out. So small precision tools, little Allen sets are the way to go. And I used to just use Allen wrenches, just standard L Allens, and that takes forever to take apart a truck. So a good little toolkit. If I'm going out like trailing, if I'm going out by myself and I know I'm going to be gone a while, I have a fanny pack or a backpack that I'll throw a few extra batteries in, and I throw this guy in there. That way, if anything happens, and then like a tire wrench for the bigger trucks for the 17 mils. But yeah, throw this guy in. It doesn't take up any space, and I mean it's got a little weight to it. But I mean, even if you just stole a few of the parts out of it and threw them in a pocket or something, it's a great set. If you're out bashing, inevitably something's going to come loose or something's going to break, and it's always helpful to have some kind of toolkit that you have on you. I can't tell you, unfortunately, how many times I've left with a full bag. I got a duffel bag over here full of batteries and radios, take a handful of trucks out for a fun day of bashing, and I don't take any tools. And slowly, one by one, I'll start losing trucks because I'll lose a bolt or something will work loose and I don't have a way to tighten it. Or I'll just run into some weird problem. I've left without the hub nut key, the little tire wrench to take tires off, and you'll have something kind of come loose on a truck and you're like, crap, I can't even take the tire off. So it is helpful if you're out bashing to have a bash bag. You're already going to be taking some batteries out with you. You got your radio with you. Might as well take a few tools. All of these trucks run on just a few different sizes, so it's pretty easy. This kit is really light. So if you get it just to have for a field kit, it's perfect. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It all closes up and zips up. It's got everything you need. I even keep random smaller Allens in here in case there's something kind of hard to get to. Or, you just kind of get into some of these tight spots. The Creightons, I mean, everything in here is pretty tight. So you wind up getting into some spots where you don't have a lot of space to work on anything. Now, the beautiful thing about these is most of it's on the belly. But if you hit rocks or whatever and you're really bashing, you start to screw up heads. It's nice to have a few that aren't chewed up to kind of get in there, dig out little rocks or whatever, and take screws out. So just a couple of helpful tips that I was thinking of while I'm sitting here working on my truck. Do the research on what you think is best for your truck. Every truck's going to be different. Every setup's going to be different. Your goal might be different than mine. I like to just send this thing to the freaking moon. You might want to have this set up a lot differently, and that's awesome. But a toolkit, verify if you're buying used, verify what you have. I didn't. And then I was like, man, what the hell's wrong with my truck? So just helpful tips that, things that I've had to learn the hard way. And again, if you're going out bashing, make sure you're taking things with you to work on your gear. Fortunately, there have been a few times where I've had tools with me and I've met strangers out bashing in the same area I'm at, and I see them messing with their trucks. Like, man, I just wish I had some pliers. I'm like, oh, here, bro, here's some pliers. So you may not be the only person that needs those tools out there. You might make new friends. In this hobby, all I've done is make friends. It's freaking awesome. But it is helpful to have the things you need when you're going out. So that was it. Just a quick one about some parts and some tool advice. Again, this was mostly for beginners. All you guys out there that have been doing this a while, this is old hat to you. But thanks for hanging out and watching. Again, I'm Randy. Thanks for everything, guys. I really appreciate all the views I'm getting and all the interactions I'm getting. If you think of something that you think a new guy might need to know about, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to help other people get into this. I have now talked to a couple of guys that seem like they might be getting into the hobby or wanting to learn more about some of this stuff. So please drop some comments in there, helping out some new guys, man. I love seeing more people get into the hobby. I love meeting young guys. Like, I meet young people all the time now. out when I'm out bashing. There's some really cool spots that I found that other people know about. I've met fathers and sons of all different ages. I mean, I met one guy who was like 17, and then the next weekend I met his dad in the same spot. It's really cool, man. I like going out and seeing other people doing this and having a good time. And it's a quick way to make new friends if that's what you're trying to do. You can pick up tips. I learned some new tricks from that dude's dad when I met him. He had a really cool slash setup, and I started asking him some things, and he was doing some neat, unique things on his truck that I've never seen before, and I got to kind of learn about that. So anyways, go out there and have fun, guys.